In this episode, we're talking about a roguelike deck builder that has you design the dungeon before you commence the crawl. That's Into the Restless Ruins. This and more on Indie Game Arcade. Hey everyone, welcome to Indie Game Arcade, a podcast that deep dives into the latest and greatest indie games. My name is Chris.
I'm Joseph.
And I didn't tell you this before, I am shirtless in the booth right now because it is 90 degrees and our AC broke. So,
oh no.
and you know, my booth already gets hot.
Yeah.
But now I'm just standing here, just a swampy mess of a man. Just completely gross. You remember that roll blobby dude from this is gonna be real weird, but those of you that have known us through our other podcasts are gonna appreciate this callback. But that you remember that cartoon Mutant League? There were video games as well. You remember the guy, was his name Laser Ooze or something, but he was just a constant dripping ooze guy? That's me right now. That's what I feel like. Just constant dripping mess.
A dripping mess of ooze.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Leave a trail everywhere I go. That's me.
I'm visualizing, I'm imagining the smell in that booth too.
Oh, like a warthog.
It's gotta be
like a whole family of warthogs have been living in here for weeks.
Man.
That's what it's like.
The
you
things
just picture,
we do for podcasting.
You picture Puma from the live action version of Lion King, and just try to imagine what it would be like sniffing his belly. And I imagine that's what it smells like in here.
That's not something I'd ever imagined myself imagining, but here we are.
Yeah, this is that's it. This is where we are.
Gross.
But that's not where we're going. Where we're going is Into the Restless Ruins.
Game start!
Into the Restless Ruins was released May 15th, 2025, developed by Ant Workshop, which was an Edinburgh-based studio. So we're not in France anymore. We finally moved out of France.
Bummer.
But we're still over in Europe, so we're getting closer. Produced by Wales Interactive, and I just hit I hit some foam on my booth and it made a fart noise. I just want everyone to know it wasn't me. It was the booth. I promise. Because it hasn't released yet, as of recording this, I don't have a price for you yet. But I am going to be picking this up day one, and I will tell you why as we talk about this. So this was inspired by Scottish legend, which is interesting. I don't know anything about the legend. I'm assuming they have a legend about a harvest maiden, because that's how this thing starts. So the harvest maiden, which is some sort of ghost or spirit or something, it's like a mythical figure. She promises to grant you a wish if you can free her by harvesting enough glimmer from the dungeons and slaying the wardens within them. So first of all, this is a very pixel art game, very much kind of in the vein of the Kingdom games, sort of in that style. Do you know what I'm talking about, Joseph?
The Kingdom? Yeah. I mean, the only Kingdom game I played all the way through is the Kingdom 80s game.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, you think about New Lands or Two Crowns, things like that. It's definitely not exactly the same, but that similar kind of the blocky pixel kind of style and everything.
Oh, so art style, you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, the art style looks kind of like that. But the main thing that you're doing in this is you have to go through these ruins and stuff, collecting this glimmer, killing the wardens. However, you are building the ruins that you are going through. So the game really kind of takes place in phases, where you are first creating parts of the ruins, and then the second phase is the harvest. That is you going through, killing enemies, and trying to make discoveries and everything. So you are creating these ruins and stuff through deck building. So you are using cards to build the dungeon layout. Some of those cards are rooms, like a room with a campfire, armories, graveyards, libraries, portals, all kinds of different things. And all of the rooms always have like some sort of benefit to them, whether it's like usually it's like a temporary buff. Sometimes it's like a stat upgrade, something like that. And some rooms also have synergies if they're placed next to like another one. So like it really helps to like pay really close attention and experiment also with a lot of the rooms and everything as you're kind of doing stuff. There's also like corridor type cards, which are, they'll be cards of like hallways and other things to kind of like help connect some of the different rooms and everything and, go across the grid a little farther. So like, when you are looking at the screen and stuff to kind of start building the ruins, there's sort of like a little bit of a grid layout in this kind of dark, almost looks like an underground cave kind of area. You'll see a couple spots laid out there of just fog, and there is like a room hidden within that fog. And there will be like a magical line farther up that you can't build past until you find a seal, or sometimes it's multiple seals, hidden somewhere within these ruins. And it's like in one of those fog covered rooms that you have to break that seal to remove that barrier so you can keep building through the ruins until you get to the boss, which would be one of the wardens. So like you're basically kind of like building things to try to maneuver yourself towards like those fog covered rooms. See if it's the room with the seal. If not, then you start building towards the next one with the purpose of eventually getting to the end. The thing that's really interesting about this though is that you have to, like, when you finish, like, let's say I put down a couple corridors, I put down a room, and you are limited. It's one of those things where you get like, let's say 3 or 4 points to build with, and you have a deck of like 5 or 6, or a hand, I mean. So you can only build so many things per turn, right? So you build what you can, you go through, and sometimes it's more of an idea of, well, I'm not going to be able to do this right now, but like, okay, I figured out what this room does. You always have to come back to the start, like where you started from is this like portal, and it will also become your exit portal.
Do you have to like clear the same room multiple times? Like if you finish a turn and you finish like 2 rooms or 3 rooms or whatever, do you have to go through those same rooms and finish them the second time you go through it, or third, or whatever?
Yes. Okay. And I will explain why. So like, you always have to come back, right, to that exit point, and that'll signal going back into the building phase again, so you can keep building. So the reason that like you have to go through those rooms and everything, so like everything kind of resets, but the buffs and everything, those all reset as well every time you go through those rooms. And the enemies will keep spawning no matter what. So it's not like so many enemies come with a room. It's just the enemies constantly spawn and they will never stop spawning. So like, yeah, no matter what, you're going to be running into enemies, no matter how many times you go through those rooms. But what's interesting about this is because eventually your ruins that you're building will start to become like very, very long. So you have to start being strategic about where you're putting certain rooms and stuff, because specifically your torchlight dwindles as you are on that harvest phase, like going through everything, and it drains fairly fast. And when it does that, you start losing your field of vision. Like it just keeps shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. So like you will eventually not be able to see as much around you. So like you can get lost in the, thing that you built pretty easily if you run out of torchlight. And if you run completely out, you will start taking constant damage. So
is it like bullet heaven auto battling, or are you?
Yes.
You're okay.
Yeah. So it's so you're automatically attacking things. But there are like some of the rooms, like I think it's the armory and stuff. You can pick up different weapons and stuff. So there's like a lot of different weapons in the game that will attack differently. So they'll have different types of cooldowns, or some of them might be ranged, some of them might be melee. So if you pick up like the bow, then like it'll obviously shoot, farther across the screen. Whereas if you pick up the axe, you're not going to be attacking the enemies until they're closer to you, but you're doing more damage. So there's different things that you can do like that. But like as that torchlight dwindles, like you want to make sure that you are building those campfire rooms in very strategic places, because you're going to want to keep like hitting those and stuff. The thing is though, like if you use one, let's say you're going up to explore something, and you use one going up, then you've already exhausted that for that specific harvest. So if you are starting to run out of torchlight and you have to get all the way back down to the exit portal, like you've already used it. So it's like sometimes you have to kind of think, do I want to use this now? Or do I want to wait and like hit it on my way back down? So it's like you really have to think about like what your layout is going to be, especially as your ruins keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and like trying to remember like, your routes through everything, because when you are building everything, you're seeing everything like really zoomed out, right? So that you can see where you're placing everything. When you start the harvest, it like zooms in on your character. So it's not like you have sight of everything. It's really easy to get lost.
Man, this looks awesome. I'm
it's
just watching.
Really cool, man.
Watching the little trailers of it. It looks so good.
Yeah, there's so much cool stuff to this. There's also like rooms that will like help you with different things too. Like there's a I know the one room, it's like a fairy fountain kind of thing, and that one everything has pros and cons. The con of this one is it doesn't have any doorways, just the one to get in. And that's one of the other things too, is like, obviously, because you want to connect things, you need rooms and hallways and stuff that have doorways, because that's how you connect stuff. So rooms that don't have any other doorways, it's like once you connect, it's just got the one, there's no exit for that. So that means you've created a dead end. Think about like, people have been playing Blueprints. It's like almost kind of the same philosophy with that, is like you could dead end yourself and that wouldn't be good. But with like that fairy fountain one or that fairy room, the pro of that one though is if you put that in a good spot, like up high when you're like building, when you go to that one, it will release a fairy that will guide you back to the exit portal. So like even if you were like really low on torchlight, just follow the fairy all the way back. You'll be fine.
So if you don't make it back to the exit portal, you just die, and that's like
you will. Run. So you will start taking damage. Like you'll keep taking like one damage like constantly if you completely run out of torchlight. So yeah, if it does kill you, then yeah, you've lost the run and your run's over.
This might be like one of the scariest games ever for me, because I'm so bad with directions. I can't imagine trying to get back to something while panicking and it getting darker and darker.
Yeah, man, it's cool. Nuts. It is really cool. And like, so it's just so fun to like build and build and build, get to like one of those fog covered rooms, get in there, try to, discover what's behind there. And if it is a seal, you're like, oh, hell yeah. And then you can progress even farther. Even though it's like, I know once I get the seal, I could bypass all the other fog rooms, but I never do. I just keep building to all of them just because they always have something interesting there. There's also like these runes that you can collect, and you can find a character who's like this witch. She's called the Hen Wife. You can, all the runes that you pick up, you can use to spin those to upgrade your cards for your rooms and stuff. So like if you upgrade, let's say your campfire room card that originally, let's say it has just 2 doors on it, you upgrade it, maybe it will restore even more torchlight, like it'll go from 20% to maybe 40%, and it'll add extra doorways to it. So it's like becomes even more useful. But the cost to use that card might be higher. So, again, there's give and take to it. So it's like the mechanics of this thing are really, really strong. And I really, really like it. Like this is a demo that I played multiple times, like over and over and over. I just had such a good time with it.
Yeah.
And when you get to the warden, like one of the wardens, it becomes like a big boss fight. Like it's still auto battler and stuff, but it's like, whereas all the other enemies are like smaller and stuff and you could take them out pretty quick. These guys are huge. So you're like having to really like avoid them quite a bit, and they will do like all these different kinds of attacks. A lot of AoE things. So you have to like get close, let your thing hit them a few times, get away from them. So it becomes really, there's just so much that you can do. It becomes very dynamic and just uses a lot of interesting mechanics, a lot of mechanics from other games that I very much enjoy, all combined into one.
Man, yeah, this looks super cool. I added it to my cart because, and not just my wish list, even though it's not out yet, there's the ability to pre-purchase it, but there's just something about it. And what's really interesting to me is how much gameplay trumps graphics in a lot of ways, because it's a lot of the games like this with these really simplistic graphics that are just so appealing to me. And I will sink so many hours into because the loop is just so satisfying. It's the same thing I did with the Rogue Genesia for a while. It's got like the most basic graphics, but it was just such a exciting loop that I just couldn't like tear myself away from it.
Yeah, same. I played the heck out of Rogue Genesia. Like I'll still pick it up and play it every once in a while. This is definitely going to be one of those games too, like one that I'm going to want to keep playing. There's like other stuff too that weren't available in the demo. So there's like charms that you can collect that I think I'm assuming will be other like maybe passive abilities and stuff. There's cantrips that act as modifiers. There's multiple characters you can unlock. I think there's going to be 3 at least at the beginning. Lots of weapons. There's tons of unlocks just in total. There's like over 100 room cards to unlock. So the replayability on this is pretty big. There's a lot of stuff. It's procedurally generated. So like, each run when you start out, like those mist rooms are going to be in place in different places. The wardens might be different. The thing that even makes it even better for me specifically, I think is the soundtrack to this, which is like, because this is something that's, was influenced by Scottish folklore and stuff, I thought we would have like kind of a fantasy sort of like soundtrack or something, especially also because it is like that sort of medieval-ish kind of like idea, right? Like it's, swords and bows and stuff. But no, the soundtrack of this is like this 80s like synth wave beat, and it freaking rocks, and somehow it fits, and it gets you so amped up when you start the harvest and get into that freaking dungeon. Like you just crank that music up and like go for it. It feels so good.
That's awesome. Okay, yeah,
it is
definitely buying this one.
Yeah, like this is probably the demo out of every demo I've ever played, the one I've put the most hours into. I've put several hours into this. Man. I've done several runs. I've loved the experience. I can't wait to play the full game. It's definitely going to be like permanent like Steam Deck install for sure. So yeah, I have to recommend it for folks that both love strategy games and the bullet heavens. Like you can't pass this one up. It's so good.
Sweet. Yeah, this is another insta buy for me, and it's like $13. Totally in.
Just like last episode, another game gets bought before we even finish recording it.
That's the problem with being away from video games for so long, for so many weeks.
I know.
Now that I'm back into it, like everything just seems so appealing to me.
Now you're going to go so hard to overcompensate.
Now I'm going to disassociate from everyone else. I'm so sorry to anyone I'm talking to right now, because you won't be talking to me for long.
Power up!
Hey, if you're enjoying this episode so far, do us a favor, throw us a like, a follow, a share. Share this episode or the podcast itself with folks who love indie games so we can get more of these game recommendations out there and support indie game developers. We also have a YouTube channel at youtube.com/nerdsloth where you can catch us playing more indie games, or check out our top 5 and top 10 series for even more indie game recommendations, because we believe there is an indie game out there for everyone.
Combo!
Let's talk about other games we've been playing. It's going to be me talking about it because we know your situation. You've been moving around too much. Sit still.
Oh,
Jesus.
I wish.
Sit still. There's only one that I wanted to talk about, which is Rhythm Witch Beat Death. This was released May 8th, 2025, developed by Dusklight Company Limited. This is a rhythm-based bullet heaven where you can only attack by pressing your attack button in sync with the beat of the music. There are visual cues for that, so it's not like you just have to hear the music and do it. So this is like picture like a Vampire Survivors or Rogue Genesia-ish kind of thing, but like mixed with something like Crypt of the Necro Dancer. That's sort of the idea here. Accurate timing will build up weapon energy across like 4 weapons that you can swap in or out. So you get like 4 weapon slots. In that bullet heaven kind of style, like even like the last game we were just talking about, it does, do the auto battle kind of thing, as long as you are pressing your buttons on time. But some of those like weapons take like, like several in sync presses to like go off. So you are able to kind of like collect and find different weapons or spells and stuff as you're going through the game, whether that is like rewards that you get, opening chests, or as you like gain coins and stuff. You can purchase new abilities and weapons and things like that. You can also upgrade those as well to be more effective and kind of like mix and match some of those. And some of them, when you do that, will have different synergies and stuff. You can really build some really cool effects doing that. But essentially, you're just kind of wanting to like sort of pay attention to make sure like, you have something going like each beat at least. So again, like I said, you've got like 4 weapon slots, put those things in there. When you do your runs, you go into these levels that are on a timer or a countdown where you basically have to survive. And then there are these music notes that will spawn all over the map. And it's always kind of random that you need to like collect and stuff. And that will kind of, the more you like get to those, collect them, that will be kind of the stuff that helps you rank up and everything and be able to like upgrade all your stuff. The maps aren't super big, but because of like how random like these things spawn, you do have to constantly be moving around the map to see where they are. And like the amount of enemies that will spawn, especially as you get farther into the game, like the spawn rates are crazy high. Like there's definitely been times where like it looks like I'm going to be completely overwhelmed, but thank God, like I'm nailing those beats. There was like one in particular, I remember that I moved to this one part of the map and then all of a sudden I was just like, why are there so many enemies here? Like I just felt like there was no way. But this one specific thing spell that I had, I can't remember what it was called, but it made this like big green poisony looking tornado. And that took a bunch of them out. And I was like, thank God I equipped that, because otherwise I would have lost right there. There's no way. You can also build up a frenzy meter that when it reaches max, the number of beats that you need to match will temporarily double. So you're having to click faster, but your attack speed will match that. So you're attacking faster and dealing twice the damage because it's going faster. There's boss fights, increasing enemy difficulty, increasing spawn percents, lots of unlocks. Plus the art is just cute, man. Like I really love the art style of this one.
The art alone sells me.
It's so cute.
I can't afford to keep picking up all these games.
Oh no, I did it again.
Actually, this one's $5. Add in the cart.
There you go. That's not bad. That's not bad. I think the music's okay. Like I want to say that for a music game, I feel like some of the other like rhythm-based games, I feel like I've had better, or I've experienced better music with. But like it's not like it's bad or anything. But like it works. I think some of the music could have been like maybe a little bit more exciting, but it's still a lot of fun. There's like different characters you can unlock too, and those characters will handle different as well. Like some of them are faster than others, but will deal less damage. Their starting weapons or spells are different. They will be more susceptible to find different types of spells or weapons than others. So there's like different builds that you can do for your different runs. There's quite a bit of variability, within this very, very, I would say, contained, kind of small experience. But it's fun. And that's the big thing is like, I was playing this one night and I thought it was going to be just a real quick thing. Play it for a little bit, get a feel for it. I'll understand it. But I like didn't want to stop. I was like, okay, this is way more fun than I expected it to be. I was just smiling the whole time.
Yeah, it looks like it would be.
Yeah, every time like a new enemy came up or I got to a new boss and I would just see how silly some of them are looking. I'm like, I love this. This is great. I need more games like this.
I also just love the environment or just the, I don't know, idea of like these. I don't know if they're demons or just like undead or what, but there's just so much like, it's like looks like a cemetery kind of like setting, but I don't know.
Yes.
So that plus the just appeal of the art and then the rhythm aspect of it looks really like satisfying. Yeah, this is definitely a buy for me, especially at $5. Like, I don't care how long the experience is. It seems like it'll be a really satisfying one.
Yeah, man, it was a good time. So like I'm really excited to get into the full game of this and go more, and just like the idea of like the cute horror aesthetic of it. It's just fun. It's like bubblegum horror essentially.
That's
I love it.
Just one of my style that I really like. That would be my aesthetic if I could pull that off.
You could find a way to dress like that in your day to day.
I'll figure it out.
Final round.
Well, let's talk about before Joseph buys more games. Let's talk about other games that haven't come out yet that we're excited about. I have two things that I would like to bring up to you. One is a DLC. This is Sea of Stars Throes of the Watchmaker. I've been looking forward to. This is coming out on May 20th. You have over 8 hours of new content. You get a new character to play who was a character from the base game, but was not a playable character, and now they will be. This is the Artificer. I am so excited for this. I've been waiting for this one for a while. It was originally, I think, supposed to come out in February and got delayed. But I'm really, really excited for this one. Sea of Stars is one of my favorite RPGs of all time, in the way of like a JRPG kind of model. And like the aesthetic of this one, like, I don't know what the story's going to be yet because I've been staying away from media. I want to experience it as I get into it. But the trailer and screenshots make it look like there's going to be a very like circus kind of motif to it, which has me really interested to see what this is going to be like. So I'm very, very excited. It looks, I mean, the game itself was gorgeous looking, and this DLC is not going to be any different. It's going to look amazing. So can't wait for it. Out of Sight is another one I was looking forward to. This comes out on May 22nd. This is an atmospheric horror puzzle game and survival game that seems really akin to both Little Nightmares as well as Among the Sleep, where you are playing this little girl who is blind but able to see through the eyes of her teddy bear that she holds close to her as she's trying to escape this super dark mansion where she's being held captive. It looks spooky as hell, and I love that. I love those kinds of games. Among the Sleep was a really, really cool game. I think you played that once a really long time ago as well. I don't know if you remember that, but yeah, you remember that one? Where you had the sentient teddy bear and you were the little kid?
Yes, I did briefly play that. Yep.
Whenever like the monster kind of woman would come by, you'd have to like hide.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, this game seems a lot like that one. So I'm very excited for this one to come out and give it a shot.
Cool. The only thing I want to mention is a game that you had talked about before, and I was curious about, but initially it had kind of turned me off of it because it was in a state that wasn't necessarily complete. None Shall Intrude. Do you remember that game where you're like the dragon?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, They just released like a pretty big update, it seems like, that adds a lot more dragons to play and I think more content to it. So
hell yeah.
Maybe that will kind of answer some of the questions that, or not answer, but like complete some of the things that it was missing before and make it a more like satisfying full experience.
I would love that because what they had was they had some really good mechanics. Like the idea of that game was so solid and so good, but there was just so many pieces that were underdeveloped, especially in the way of like when I talked to you about it, I think on here, the idea of like you could be different colored dragons that would have different powers, but like no matter which one you chose, it always ended up just being a red dragon. So I was like,
yeah,
come on.
So yeah, that looks like just literally the patch is called like, or the update says like huge optimization / bug fix patch. And it says they'd been like optimizing the game over the past few weeks. So this seems like kind of the answer to the feedback of the players, which is exciting that they're that responsive and that they are taking that feedback and sort of making those hopefully corrections. I already picked it up, so it's like I hope it's better now, but you know, I just got impatient and it looks really cool. And just from what you were describing, sounded really cool, with the exception of those issues that it had, or just the incompleteness that it felt at that time. But it seems like they are fixing that up, almost like it was in an early access sort of state, and now they're kind of patching it up to make it a fuller experience.
Yeah, if I remember right, I think that's how we, as we talked about it, how I think I ended up describing it, is it was supposed to be the full release, but it felt like an early access, or it felt like a, I don't know, like a beta or something. So yeah, that's extremely exciting because like what I did play of it, you know, things aside, I really enjoyed, and I felt like it was a game that should be. I think if they had just released it as early access there, and then this maybe would have been like the full release or something, I think they would see like way more success. Because I know like they did get hit with some pretty rough reviews for a little while. Hopefully that is ebbed, because it's a solid game. It's so much fun. I really enjoyed my time with it. I would love to go back into it and play some more. So I'll have to check that out.
So we'll see. I'll let
All
you know
right,
how it
we'll
goes.
do it. We'll do it. We'll give it a shot, man. And of course, Monster Train 2 coming out really soon as well.
Oh my gosh, so excited! Did you see that
Is
they
that
had
the 21st or 22nd? I think.
Let me check. But did you see that what they added to it? Like they've added
Balatros doing a crossover with it. Yeah,
Star Vaders, that other game that just came
Star
out.
Vaders.
Yeah. There's been a few different things they're adding. I don't know how people feel about that kind of thing in general, but since that's really optional stuff, it's like you can deal with it if you want to, or use those kind of things if you want to. But I just like that they're getting that much support early on, and that it's coming soon. Because even just playing the demo, I was already excited about it. Yeah, the 21st, which is like 9 days from now.
Oh yeah. That's definitely one we'll probably be talking about on that release for sure.
Oh yeah,
Can't
absolutely.
Wait. Yeah, is it, man? It's been a good time for indie games, for
and
sure.
A bad time for my wallet.
A bad time for you and your wallet. A great time for indie games, and for those of us playing the games.
Exactly.
Game over.
If you had a good time listening to this episode, stick around for the bumper so you can learn how you can support the show and all the things we do here at Sloth Creative. You can also check the show notes for our link tree. That'll take you to our social media, Discord, subreddit, merch store, all that stuff. But get in touch with us. Let us know what indie games that you are playing, and help us elevate these games so we can help support these indie developers. But that's game over for us. My name's Chris.
I'm Joseph.
And we'll continue on the next episode.
Continue.
Indie Game Arcade is recorded and produced by Sloth Creative. If you're looking for more gaming content, head over to youtube.com/nerdsloth for indie game let's plays and recommendations. If you'd like to support the show, head over to patreon.com/nerdsloth, where you can select a pledge and receive access to hundreds of hours of bonus content from everything at Sloth Creative. If you're an indie game developer and would like us to review your game or explore other opportunities, send an email to nerdslothcreative@gmail.com with the subject line Indie Game Arcade. Thanks for listening, and keep supporting indie game devs.